Hello and welcome to my channel. I am back and today I've got a fabric haul. So also I am in a different room in my house, and at the very end of this video I will take you on a room tour. It's not a big room, it's the laundry room, but there are some really cool details, I think, including these tiles and the floor. Other than that, it's quite functional, but anyway, that's the end of the video. So stick around if you're into the room tour. If you came from for the fabric, there's a massive pile of fabric. This was an accidental fabric haul. I didn't accidentally go into a fabric shop because that never happens. It's always on purpose. But I did not mean to buy this much. If you follow me on Instagram, where I am also Joey Surrey, you will have seen that it's almost 2 weeks ago actually now. Might be exactly 2 weeks. Feels like, wow, that time has flown. I went for a family visit to West Yorkshire, and I always try and find an excuse, or just make an excuse, to go to some of the fabric shops around there, because there are in-person, real-life fabric shops. Much prefer shopping for fabric in real life to on the internet, because it is just easier to get your hands on it. So I always make an excuse, and one of the places that is really close to where my family is, and also I have known this shop for a really long time, is a shop called the Shuttle Shipley. I probably first went there when I was about 9 years old, which is now 38 years ago. No, yeah, a long time ago. And I also had a job there for not for very long, because the owner is difficult to work for and is quite infamous for that. But just, yeah, old-fashioned male, not fun to work for. And I had a job there when I was about 18, probably only for about 2 weeks. But it's a shop where I have gone for years and years and years and years and years, because the fabric has always been great. Once upon a time, I thought all fabric shops were like that. I thought all fabric shops had huge range, amazing prices, and just felt like sweet shops. Now, fabric shops all feel like sweet shops, but the Shuttle just had something special, and I think it's always been a dead stock shop, even before I knew what dead stock was. The one thing that the owner did have as a strength was that he clearly had links throughout the garment industry in the UK, and he just got his hands on the best dead stock from all sorts of designers, and yeah, really good stuff. Some really terrible things as well. I think he was probably kind of, yeah, you can have the good stuff if you also take this really hard to shift stuff. And he was like, yeah, if you give me it cheap. He was always about giving me it cheap. Anyway, the Shuttle Shipley, I went there, and when I was looking up the time of its opening, just checking what times it opens, because the hours have reduced over the years, the day before I saw that they had announced the very, very moment for sadness news that they're closing down. I mean, the owner must be, honestly, in his 80s by now. I know how when you're young everyone feels ancient, but I swear when I was 18 he was well past middle age at that point, and as we've just established, that was quite a while ago. So anyway, he is retiring, and so the shop was shutting down. He's not normally front of house anymore anyway, and it's been that way for years, but it's shutting down. And so I thought, right, well, priority of visiting is now number one. I'm definitely going there, and I'm going to see what they've got, because they also had all the fabric was half price. Yeah, so that's why the pile of fabric behind me, for me, is gigantic. Shall we get on and have a look? So I was kind of looking for summer stuff. I also went with an open mind. Definitely bought things I didn't go for. So I'll just take you through it, and I'll tell you which ones were random, most of them. And I will say a little bit about my sewing plans. I don't have plans for all of this because there's so much, but kind of what I was thinking when I bought it. But I am doing a sewing plans video very soon. And the other thing I'm doing is my next video, which will be out on Monday, is going to be how to do fabric painting. So the top I'm wearing, you may recognise the green linen. It is from my jumpsuit that I did before I went to the garden party, but you won't recognise that it's painted. or printed really. No brushes were involved in this. I'm not going to tell you what I used, you can have a guess. And on Monday there'll be a video telling you the techniques that I used to get the painted, printed effect on this top. So that's my next video on Monday, and then on Friday next week I'm going to talk all about my summer sewing plans. So I will limit a little bit kind of patterns and stuff that I'm talking about now. We're already 5 minutes in and I haven't shown you any fabric, so let's get on to it. Number 1, these are just in the order. I have piled them up after they have been pre-washed. So here is number 1. This is a poly cotton, I think, and it's kind of a burnout. It's a crinkle. Although I'll be honest, I haven't actually ironed any of these fabrics since I pre-washed them. Very naughty. But I have pre-washed them, so I'm not so bad. But you can see that it has this beautiful cutout. It's got a crinkle, so it's not going to need ironing. It can be shoved in cases when you go on holiday. It can be scrunched in your wardrobe. It can just be washed and it won't need ironing, I think. I don't think, yeah, anyway. I got a couple of meters of this, and I was thinking blouse when I thought I would get this fabric. So that's what I got it for. I think it's 60 centimeters wide, and I'm going to tell you how much all of them are. I'm kind of a bit reticent because you're going to hate me. The prices were insanely cheap. If you are local, the Shuttle is open for another couple of weeks, I think, and they do still have some stock because they keep putting on Facebook that they have got some stock left. They won't have everything they had when I went, and when I went there was already a lot gone, but they are going to be open for the next couple of weeks. So if you're local to West Yorkshire, then you could go and see what's left. So the price of this will be coming right up. So I'm back. I had to nip off and get my laptop. I got it out, I looked at the prices, and then I left it in a different room. This one was actually quite expensive, relatively, and it'll give you an idea. This was £3.25 a metre, and yeah, that was the second most expensive item. It's not all about the cheap fabric, but it can be nice when it's inexpensive, but it's not inexpensive because this feels like quite good quality. So that is fabric number 1. So fabric number 2 is some pink cotton twill. Now this looks crumpled, not because it's intentionally so, but because it hasn't been ironed. So it will be, and it's really drapey, so this won't be creased. I was going to iron it before I showed you, then the hours of the day were disappearing and it was iron or make a video. So I went with make a video because, you know. So it's creased because of that, but I don't know how the colour is coming through on the camera, but I would say it's a little bit salmony pink, which would not normally be in my colour palette because that's too warm and orangey. But I think it is actually a blue based pink, but only just. And it's kind of a mid baby. It's not an icy, really washed out pink. It's got quite a bit of colour to it. And as you can see by me holding it all around, I've got quite a lot of this. I got 3 meters of this fabric because I would love to make a long dress, and it was so drapey. I have some shirt dresses that I would like to make. So what it was described as was washable cotton twill. Definitely lightweight for cotton twill, and really drapey, really beautifully drapey. It's lost some of the drape because it's not been ironed yet and it's been washed. But I have high hopes for a swishy dress in this one, and the price was £2.50. So a lot of the fabrics had already been reduced, and they already start out cheap, but literally everything half price. What can I say? So £2.50 a metre, 3 metres. They were actually also cutting really generously, so I haven't measured this yet, but there's going to be more than 3 there, and it's 60 wide. They often get a lot of 60 wide fabric in the Shuttle. I don't know why. Must be to do with the suppliers, but you do get good width of fabric as well, which can make a difference. The next one was the first one, did you see it, that I picked up. I've been looking for a big gingham check for a while, and I found one. Here it is. Look at that. Now, in my imagination, I'd been wanting either a black and white one or a pink and white one, but big checks. I didn't want the girly baby gingham. It's a thing it looks great on some people, it's not my aesthetic. But the big gingham check I really like. And this is a great kind of lilac, dark and light lilac coloured check. So I loved that. It was the first thing that I picked up. The downside of it, and this has been washed and not ironed, and as you can see, there isn't a crease on it. The reason why there isn't a crease on it is because it's completely polyester, but hey. There's about 2 meters here, and it cost me £4 for the piece, because this was, they always used to have rails, circular rails of cut pieces on like skirt hangers, on wooden hangers. I had some somewhere. They were always clipped on these sorts of things in the middle of the shop, all the way around, all the remnants, all the end rolls and stuff. And this was on one of those. It didn't have a price on, but I knew it was going to be good, and I also knew it had to come home with me. It just had to. Again, don't know exactly what it's going to be, but thinking about my style aesthetic, it's going to be a dress or something just on the top half, but more likely a dress. And what I mean by that is I wouldn't put this bolder pattern just on the bottom half of my body, because it would be unbalanced. Pattern top half, less pattern bottom half. I've said that before in some of my style videos. That's what I feel comfortable with, and that's what I feel flatters my body most. So this gorgeous one is going to be either all over or a top half only, and I really feel like it needs to be a kind of a dress. When? Don't know. What? Don't know. But that's what I feel like it's going to be. So next is something red. Now red is really tricky to buy online. I said that recently in another video, I'm pretty sure. It just is. I mean, you come out with orange so often, and I've tried asking, like on Vinted, I've tried asking people, what kind of red is it? And you might as well ask them, what is the verb for skipping in Japanese, for all the sense that you get back. I don't understand why people don't understand the difference between a red that's moving towards orange or a red that's moving towards blue. A blue-based red, a yellow-based red. It's not that hard a concept. Perhaps I'm being too demanding, but I really need to know, because an orange/yellow-based red is no good for me. A blue-based red is very good for me. It's a colour where a nudge one way is not great. That pink, a nudge, and I can sort of get away with it. The red, it just goes from being amazing to awful. So this red, now I don't know how it's going to look to you guys, but I know that in real life, if I move backwards and forwards, and I'll swish it in front of you for a bit, but I know in real life this is a really true red, a really bright red, but a very blue red. And as you can see, it also has a pinstripe in it, and I love a stripe. In fact, I love stripes too much. Buy too many stripes, but you know, you've got to have a vice. So now let me remind myself, yeah, just described as a polyester stripe. So probably 100% polyester, but it's kind of, it feels like it's almost knitted. It's got, I'm going to hold it really close and you can kind of see, it isn't knitted, it's woven, but it's got a bit of a sense of being knitted in the way that a 1970s polyester might be, but it doesn't feel plasticky like that. It's got really great drape, really lovely drape, and it's got the stripe, so it's got a lot going for it. We've got a cat going in the litter tray, how delightful. This is what I get for filming in odd rooms. I got, she's burying it. I got 3 meters of this, and I paid £5.25 for the piece. So I don't know how the maths works out on that. It was about £2 a metre, because it was £3.95 originally, which clearly doesn't equally divide in two, but there you go. So this is gorgeous. Again, I think it might be an amazing long red dress, and that's why I got 3 meters, because I was thinking that would be amazing. If I didn't already have some red trousers that I love, some wide leg red trousers, it would definitely be those. So if some disaster befalls those, I could make some trousers. But that's what I was thinking. Again, it's really wide. It's like, it feels like it's even wider than 60, but it's definitely 60 wide. So there, it's that one. Now I'm just jumping in here partway through the video because I wanted to ask for your help. I'm going to start doing my favourites video again. I used to do this every month back when I was doing regular videos in 2020 and past there. And I had various categories that I did each time. I can't even remember all of them now, but it was things like the favourite thing I bought, favourite thing I'd worn, favourite thing I'd watched or listened to, those sorts of things. And I'm going to mix it with what I've been wearing the previous month as well. But what I really want to know from you is, what categories should I include? So favourite what? What would you like to hear about? What would be interesting? What would be funny? What would be silly? What would get you watching? So if you want to suggest in the comments down below your favourite thing you would like me to pick out each month or just once, I would love to hear that. And while you're there, if you don't mind pressing like and subscribe, that would also be awesome. So let's get back to the video. And then we were getting a bit crazy, so we were starting to get carried away. Now it's starting to get carried away. There is this mint blue green. Look, quite similar. In fact, it's even more of amazing mint than this colour, and this colour is already great. This is polyester again, but this is crepe, and it is so good. I just love it. I don't know if you can see the texture, but I will move it around for you. I'll drape it for you, see what you see. One of the reasons why we were starting to get a bit silly at this point is because it was only £1.25 a metre, and they had several bolts of it, and I took a couple of bolts partly because there were different prices on it, and I was being super cheeky, and I was like, I know you're going to half price this for me, but can you half price the cheaper labelled one, because I think these are the same. And they did. But there was 2 metres on one bolt and there was 4 metres on another, and I was going to buy 5 because I had long dresses in my brain. I'm not going to make 3 long dresses, but I have bought fabric for 3. So in the end I got a 2 metre piece, and I got this piece which was a 4 metre piece, you know, just in case. And because it's so drapey, it's such a great colour, and it was a stupid price at £1.25 a metre. No faults, just so it had to come home with me. So this is, let me look, does it get any better than that? It's just the best colour. Yeah, love it. So yeah, I have 6 metres of that. I have already started sewing something, not going to tell you what, but it's drapey. This is the 4 metre piece, and I've actually got leftovers from the 2 metre piece too, so you're going to see a lot of this on my channel because I could make a lot of things with it. I'm saving the fanciest fabric till last. So the next one, I had said to myself, I broke all these promises, I had said to myself that I was just looking for summer things. These days I don't like buying things to put into my stash, and I don't really like buying ahead of time. I want to be able to be impulsive and creative and go with what I feel like at the moment. However, they had cotton corduroy, jumbo cotton corduroy, so I just had to. And the reason why I really had to, and partly it was this colour, which is kind of a brown grey. At least it is in real life, and it's a neutral. I said this in my last fabric haul, so I probably have enough of this colour now, but it's a neutral that I don't have any of, and I really like it. The brown grey, there's not really any browns because I've got a very cool colouring. I'm not warm. I mean, I am in my heart, but not in my colours. I'm not warm at all, so brown is really not for me. This is as close to brown as I can get, and I really like it. I'm not a fan of brown for me anyway, but it's nice to be able to have a little bit of variety. But this corduroy has got great drape, which for me on my bottom half, even when I'm making wide leg trousers, having some drape is really good. Structure and stiffness, and so things that are going to stick out, when that's what my body does at that part anyway, is not great. So you want things that are going to flow over your curves. So even though we're talking about pretty heavyweight corduroy, I haven't counted how many wales they have. Did you know that's what corduroy stripes are called? I found that out a couple of years ago. I love that. So I didn't know how many wales, spelt as in the country I believe, not the creature. It's probably maybe 6 wale, maybe 5, which means 5 per inch or 6 per inch. So quite thick jumbo cord. So I got the brown 2 metres of for £5 a metre. So quite expensive as we go. And then we're back on my blue greens again. I first saw that grey and then I was like, oh, but it's a really great fabric. And of course, here we are again, blue greens. So these are not summer sewing, and they will sit in what I have of a stash. But in the autumn, they're going to get brought out, and they could be wide leg trousers, they could be a really nice dress, but their drape is fantastic. So that is the blue-green colour. If anyone fancies buying me fabric, if you want a sure thing, blue-green. Or a blue-red. I'll love you forever if you get me a blue-red. And then, very much a wild card, very much an indulgence, very much a fabric without a necessary plan yet, but it came home with me, and there is more blue-green involved, but not just blue-green. So this definitely needs pressing because it's like a satin woven, and it's got all sorts of colours around it, and it is crinkled as it's been washed. When it's ironed, it's going to flatten out. So right now it looks like there's quite a lot of 3D texture to it. I mean, there's a lot going on with it. This fabric is amazeballs. But if you can see, there's a lot of 3D texture, which if you wanted to keep that in the garment, you just have to never wash or iron it, which you could do. But I'm going to have to step back to show you the full glory of what's going on here. So we've got blue, green, green, cobalt blue, that middle one, lilac, and then kind of the blue, green again, and the green again. I mean, look at those colours. They are just perfect. And this is cotton and silk blend, and it's by Designers Guild. So it is officially an upholstery fabric, which the original price at the Shuttle was £35 a metre, which, let me tell you, is off the scale expensive for the Shuttle. By the time I was buying it, it was down at £10 a metre, and then that was halved. So it was £5 a metre, which is cotton and silk. 35% silk, 65% cotton. Some of you may think I'm insane that I have put this through the washing machine, but I thought, in for a penny, in for a pound, if it gets made into a garment, which I intend garment, not, oh, look at that. I intend garment, not upholstery for this. What garment, I'm not sure. I have kind of jackets in my head, or a skirt. I got 3 meters, put the bolt on the table, and I said, I want to say 3 meters, but I really should buy 2. And the lady serving me said, really? At this price, for this fabric, you're only going to get 2 meters. I was like, yeah, give me 3. And then people in the queue behind me, there was a big queue, were saying, oh wow, what are you going to make with it? What are you going to make? And I was like, I'm not totally sure, but I think maybe a matching jacket and skirt, which is, I don't think I've ever made that. So, you know, but it's so good. It's so good. It's lunchtime right now, and if this was a sandwich, I would totally eat it. I'm really hungry. Anyway, that is the last fabric, but I have 2 other little things to show you. So £5 a metre for cotton and silk, Designers Guild, really high-end stuff. It was a very happy day. The 2 other things I've got to show you are yarn. Now, the Shuttle does not sell yarn, but Bradford is a huge, historically a huge yarn place, so there's loads of wool shops. And there was one that I'd totally forgotten I knew about on my way home from West Yorkshire, Bradford-ish area to the Lake District. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to have a little stop, because I've forgotten about you, but now I've remembered about you, because I was scrolling around on Google Maps for what fabric shops would be left when the Shuttle's gone. I do have secret information. If you promise not to tell anyone else, there may be a replacement fabric shop opening up in the Shipley area, not in that building. That's all I'm going to say, because it's pretty much all I know, but from a reliable source. So follow the Shuttle Shipley on Facebook, and apparently that is the place to be to find out about these things. So I wasn't as heartbroken when I left the shop as when I arrived, when I found that out. It was quite exciting, actually. So yarn, big in West Yorkshire. I went to a yarn shop and I bought 3 yarns for 2 garments. First of all, we were back with buying red, This really is showing up quite orange, but again, in person, it's a blue red. It's a really great classic red, fully red, but blue red. And then white, because what I want to make is a stripy red and white top. Not a la Father Christmas. And I have been starting this, and the first iteration that I tried was very Father Christmas, so I had to change the size of the stripes. Working out a bit better now. So if you're interested, this is Wendy with wool. So it is part acrylic, part wool, super chunky. So it's I was matching Rowan Big Wool, if you know that, that's a really famous yarn. And it's on huge needles, on 10mm needles. The composition is 20% wool, 80% acrylic. It was not expensive per ball. I think it was £4, £5 a ball. And then this one, I couldn't get a white in this colour. The white was quite yellowy cream from that range. So this one, which is all acrylic, sadly, but I wanted a proper white, and I wanted it in this weight, and basically this was the choice I had. So this is Hayfield Bonus, super chunky. Again, same weight, 100 gram, 90 yards, 82 meters, and this is a really white. So that is knitting project number 1. And then I've buried the other one. Here it is. So this one I didn't go for. I'd lost all self-control by this point. But I saw that colour. It's a sky blue. It's like the clouds in my sewing room. It's so beautiful, and it's mohair and acrylic. So it's lofty. It's going to make a beautiful fluffy either jumper or cardigan. And my intention is that this yarn is going to come on holiday with me in August, July, Augustish. And this is the project that I'm going to work on holiday. So yeah, it's so lovely, so soft, such a great colour. So that's that. Oh, and it was maybe £6 a ball. I didn't keep the information, but it wasn't super expensive because it is partly acrylic. Now that is the end of the fabric haul. If you're not interested in room tours, thank you very much. Please consider pressing subscribe. That would be marvellous. And I will see you in the next video. But if you're interested in room tours, stick around and I will show you around this room, my laundry. So I'm going to start filming from where we left off last time, which was my painted wall. So that's where I did one of my more recent videos. And we're going to go left this time through this black door and into my laundry. Close the door behind me. So what can we see? It is a really functional space. This is one of those spaces in the house that makes the rest of the house tidy because you can put all your crap in here. So first look around, we've got this amazing purple painted floor. You're going to be getting used to my colour choices by now, aren't you? The other standout thing for me is the tiling in this room, which I love. I tell you, I didn't always love it because I did this tiling. There were definitely times when I hated it because it was really hard, but I do love it now. So it goes all the way around the room and it is kind of it's almost as tall as me. So I bit off a lot, and there was definitely a point there where I was thinking, yeah, you bit off way more than you can chew. But I love it. It makes the space feel really functional. It makes it really functional, and it is just really unique. So I've got the tiling as a feature. I've got a cat trying to get in through the door. Come on, you hate being shut out, don't you? What else have we got that goes on in here? Well, we have more IKEA furniture. Again, you're going to be used to that by now. So functional things, we've got cat stuff, cat fountain. It's very hot at the moment, so we've got some running water. And our old cat, as with a lot of cats when they're getting elderly, he's not with us anymore. He died 3 months ago. But drinking is difficult, so we invested in a water fountain then. And the young cats, of which this is one, aren't you, Maria? Maria, hello. After Maria of The Sound of Music, aren't you? Because she's black with a little white collar and white underpants, actually. Yeah, we're talking about you. Anyway, they like the water fountain, so it stayed. So we have an IKEA cupboard. It is the Plaza range. It's taller than me. It has a hook on the outside for hanging up stuff that needs ironing. And I should show you the ceiling of this room. So this room is really tall. It is way over 3 meters at the tallest up there. And it has this funny cutout because above there is our bedroom. And there is a roof window in here, but there is also a roof window aligned with it in our bedroom, which is also the fire escape. So that funny slanty bit here is all functional because there's actually a little set of stairs up there to help us should there be a fire, which of course everybody hopes there never will be, but we can access the roof window, and then we will have fun as well as being terrified because we get to slide down our roof. Anyway, these cupboards just have really functional things in, like cat food and refills and bird food, and in this one it's not actually very intently used, but there's mops and plastic bags, and like I said, this room is the room where we keep all our stuff so we don't have to have it going everywhere else. We've got a hanging rail again for ironing and for drying stuff on, so we fashioned that out of a bit of wooden dowel, and we hang stuff there. Ironing and towels for if one had a dog, you'll be drying dogs off. We do actually have to dry our cats off quite often. Towels there, and then low level, quite shallow top to bottom, cupboards, which keep things like vases and light bulbs and stuff like that. Again, super functional. Shoe polish I think is in this one. Vases and shoe polish, what everyone keeps together in a pet feeder. We've got a washer and a dryer, which is super exciting. Again, these are IKEA kitchen units. We've got one of the IKEA pegboards. I find a good idea and I use it everywhere. We've got this massive sink, which is brilliant for washing up painting. For if anyone was mad enough to wash a cat, you could wash it in there. You'd need to go to a hospital afterwards, obviously, but you could. But it's huge. It is, I think it's 60 centimetres from side to side, and it's about almost 40 centimetres front to back. So if you're going to fill it, you'll use a lot of water, but it's really good for all the functional things. We've got a food sink, as it were, in the kitchen, but there, it's huge. It's really, really useful. And then here's kind of garden stuff, and again, it's got my secateurs, a watering can that I use indoors, used Pringle tubes because I have a garden use for them in terms of planting seeds and things. So yeah, really, really functional. I've got this pretty picture. Well, I say pretty, but it's of dandelions. It's got massive reflection of the roof window on it. But dandelions are my garden nemesis. And when I found that picture, I was like, yeah, we're going to have a picture of that just by the back door. This is one of the doors into our garden. It's where the cat flap is. So that I can size up the enemy before I go outside. So yeah, out here, I will do a garden tour at some point, but there's the washing line right by here. So everything, we've had the luxury of planning this house out. We didn't build it, but we did rebuild it. And so everything is, as much as we can be, it's in a useful place, like putting the washing line right next to where the washing machine is, etc., etc. So that is this room. So that one was a pretty speedy room tour, but then there isn't a lot to show. I hope you liked the purple floor. I didn't say a lot about that actually, did I? It is painted over the concrete. It is little green floor paint, which was quite expensive, but this has been painted for 3 years. It has cats coming over it. It has us coming over it. It has large teenage boys going over it because they come in the back door when they come home from school because they can't work the front door. And it hasn't worn, it hasn't chipped, it is just brilliant. So if you want to paint a floor, I would highly recommend, I'm not on commission, but I would highly recommend this little green floor paint. I'll see if I can put a link in the comments down below, because it was expensive, but it's so worth it, and it's way, way cheaper than carpet or lino or whatever. So just putting it out there, you could have a purple floor. Thank you very, very much for watching, as ever. I'll be back in just a few days, as I said, with how to paint/print clothing, and I hope you have a great weekend. See you soon. Bye.